Welcome to WO50, Women Over 50 Embody Wisdom and Wellness.
Oh, you do, my BFF Eddie. You sure do. And I'm Corinne. We're here on our podcast. The topic is Grow Yourself to Know Yourself, a rooted conversation about the continuous process of growth.
This cycle of life, the getting to know yourself, right? Just, digging in, taking inventory. We talked about lots of things. Like, you don't realize how much information you can share, and that it really helped me kind of go inward, that I went, hang on, yeah, I have really grown, right? So I love that we did that with this podcast, because it was kind of a check-in for me, and you too.
Yeah,
you too.
Yeah, both of us notice where areas where we've grown, and it's not just the garden or yourself; it's relationships and the way you look at things. And it was pretty fun, and there was some funny moments too, as there always is.
Yeah, it's really nice because we don't want to go stale, No. We want to keep growing.
Yeah,
no mold. No moldy.
No stagnancy going on here. Hello, Eddie.
Hello, Ken. How are you today?
I'm good. It's raining here in Nashville, which is fabulous. We had like 2 months with no rain. So
nice.
It's a beautiful, like kind of gloomy, dark day, which is awesome.
Yeah, those are nice to get every now and again. As we go into the fall.
Yeah. Yeah, you get a lot of those days, I know. But we don't get many here, so I'm really enjoying it. The plants are really loving all the rain. So that helps make things grow.
Absolutely. And you've got to grow if you don't have all the necessary elements.
Yeah. So the title today is Grow Yourself to Know Yourself. And, when I worked with Tony Robbins years ago, like studying to be a life coach with him, he used to say, one of his sayings was like, if it's not growing, it's dying. And if you can kind of look at that with anything in your life, certainly your plants, they're always growing, or they're dead. And so in relationships, your business, anything in life, every decision we make in every moment is either going towards where we want to be or away from where we want to be.
It's true. It's true. Just like nature too, we go through the shifts and the changes in the seasons, as well. Like right now, I'm watching my garden, and, my rhubarb's going back into the earth, and, the last of the harvest, there's a few little straggly tomatoes waiting for me to pick them. And then, the strawberry plants are already done, but they're getting ready to kind of snuggle in and hibernate. And in the spring, they just start automatically just blooming again. And all I have to do is really check the soil and make sure it's, tended to. And it's kind of like ourselves, right? We go into this fall, winter time, and like you said, the gloomy or the dark or the inward weather. We put on sweaters and we get our coats and our boots, and we start eating like rooted vegetables and, squash and the fall flavors. And we want baked goods. Like we
craving pumpkins.
Yeah.
Pumpkin spice.
Like it's so funny because I we painted our front door orange, and I'm going, did we do that because it's like Halloween time and it's fall and it still looks really good? But I'm going, and when I painted it, I went, Strap painted it. I'll put the worms in my pocket. Hey, anyway, he painted it, and I went, oh, I love a pumpkin and squash soup, like a butternut squash.
Yeah. It's funny how those. Yeah, totally. Like I find myself drawn to recipes to make like pumpkin bread or pumpkin muffins or pumpkin soup, or I've got a bunch of butternut squash from the garden. So
or sweet potatoes in your chocolate, like with cocoa and almond butter, cocoa powder and sweet potato. And it's like, wow, it's yummy because we're trying to get all the nutrients in. And
Nice. So the Tony Robbins thing, it was like, I like it because it kind of went along with the yoga too. The reason why I liked it is because, whatever you put your attention on grows. So
Hmm.
a lot of times in yoga, I'll say, if you're wondering why, if you're self-employed, but if your business is not doing well, or if you're one of your relationships with your children or your spouse is strained, or your sibling, how much attention are you putting on it? So things, and that's, I think, what happens as we get older. What I see now is a lot of people have routines that both spouses were working,
Hmm.
and then they're getting ready to retire, or maybe not necessarily retire, like retire, and they're maybe doing something else, but their life is shifting and they're having more time. And all of a sudden, it's like, do you know each other? Have you grown together, or have you grown apart? And
Yeah.
have you grown to know yourself more, but not know your partner more? And to kind of
Hmm.
look at these things that have shifted, and it doesn't mean that it's necessarily over, but it's a different season.
Yeah. Yeah. And I talk about that a lot in my office. Often people get to midlife and they have raised their families and they've given a lot of themselves away, and they reach this point and they go, I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't even, like, my job is done and I'm retired, and who am I? And so this is the point where we start like reinvesting in ourselves. Like we
Hmm.
start looking at what do we like to do? What are some of our passions? Maybe some things have gotten away on us as we've gotten older. Maybe some things, our little to-do list from when we were younger, we could pull it out again and see if there's anything relevant on there that applies, right? Or what do we value, or what do we give ourselves like permission to do, right? It's like this big piece of getting to know ourselves. Aristotle said years ago, getting to know yourself is the beginning of all wisdom.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So wisdom, this is kind of what we do with this podcast. It's, W-O-5-O, and we embody wisdom and wellness. And even just saying it, I'm just going, yeah, just reinvesting or kind of identifying what's important to us in our lives, like in this moment, like
Mm-hmm.
in this moment, without getting
Hmm.
too far ahead. Oh, no, it's too late for that. It's too late. It's not too late.
Not too late
Yeah.
for anything.
Nothing.
You
Ride
hit the
your
reset
edge.
button at any time for
Yep.
anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Self-awareness, self-identity, so important to just to get to know yourself. What color do
Hmm.
you like? What, music, everything starts to shift and change. And what
Hmm.
are we doing to get to know ourselves so that we feel like there's this personal growth happening? Because we do it to ourselves, it totally affects, it has that ripple effect. It affects everybody else around us.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
microcosm and the macrocosm. If you're having a problem with the way anything is going in the world, just look at home first, because there's always stuff that can be done. It's a little thing
Yep.
that I noticed recently that I don't know why I didn't have time for when I'm young, but yeah, everybody's drawn to different things. But so it always, I lived with this one guy, one of my boyfriends years ago. Remember David from San Diego, right?
Hmm.
You called him the Jewish GQ guy.
Yeah, I did. He looked like
Drive to be
cover of
drove
a
BMW.
magazine.
Yeah.
That made him laugh, though.
Yeah. He
Surfed
liked
in the
that.
morning,
Yeah.
did the stock market and surfed. I was like,
Exactly.
God, this guy got it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did have it down. We had a nice little condo on the beach and stuff. It was really fun.
Hmm.
But David he was totally a hedonist in the way that he just liked pleasure, and not in like a way that he wanted orgies or anything like that, or other women. It wasn't like that at all. He just loved the best things in life, but at the expense to for me, he wasn't into like joy in the present moment, and that's why we ended up, after 3 years, took me to figure out that one. But he
Mm.
didn't like he wouldn't fix things around the house, and
Mm.
I would do the laundry and I would fold it, or I'd put it, and he couldn't even put it back in the cupboard. Like, he would never look after the little things. And to me, life is the little things. And yet I've seen where I've done that in my life. It's like I for this, I've got all these cords. You know how we have all these cords, right? So when I get a new cord, whether it's for my little charger for my tuner for my guitar, or my charger for my water bottle, or my charger for my iPad or whatever it is. You have a gazillion, and they all have different ends that are so tiny you can't tell. So, what's a
Mm-hmm.
really good idea, duh, is as soon as you get it, you just take a little tape and you put a little label on it. What does this go with? You know?
Yeah.
And or
Yeah.
even have a little bag. I've got all these cute little bags from India and stuff. It's like just put it in its own little bag. So finally, I thought of that when I first bought my little tuner. It's like, because I'm like, this is going to get lost in all the cords. So it took me about 3 days to find it through all my cords. And then finally, I'm like, I put it in its own little case. I didn't put a label on it because I didn't have tape upstairs, but I did put it in a really cute little case that I had and put it in the guitar thing. So now it's now in my tuner's charged. So to
Mm-hmm.
me, this is like things that I'm growing in. It's like I'm noticing that sometimes I don't look after those little things that I think about that are I'd like to do, but that just make life easier in general. Because
Yeah.
and I feel like the reason why I didn't do that in the past is because I didn't want to take the time because I had other things to do that were more important.
Mm-hmm.
So how many things do
Mm-hmm.
we do that to every day that we brush to the side that probably are important to our day-to-day life to make it more streamlined and comfortable and organized, but we push it off because it's not it's just another thing that's, oh, as my sister would say, it's not on the priority list. It's like there's a
Yeah.
list about 100 things long. It's not the
Yeah.
priority right now. But
Yeah.
now I feel like after 50, it's like things slow down a little bit. I don't have the drive like I did before to do all the different things that I used to do. And so now I can do those little things, and there's such satisfaction in it.
Absolutely. And a lot of people will say they think it's their mind or they're getting forgetful. It's just that you haven't taken the time to put the awareness on, oh, where do you put your car keys? You normally lay them there. So it's like getting these little routines happening that, like you do with your labels for what's for the iPhone, there's so much to keep up with,
Yeah.
as we get older, unless we want to unplug everything. But no, because we get kids and grandkids and partners and friends, and there's books everywhere. There's music, there's chords, right? There's stuff
Mhm.
around us,
We have a
unless we're
lot of stuff.
minimalist.
Hmm.
There's stuff.
Yeah.
And we just start putting our attention to really, like, yeah, like your sister says, to what's priority. And our little cords that keep things charged are priority. Our car keys are priority. So they have a special place. And it's not like we're OCD with stuff. It's just I like having a place for things. I really
Hmm.
do. I've always been like that. And even when I traveled, I mean, you travel with me, and any friends, and even Strat, I have to have nobody else's stuff mixed in with my stuff. It's like,
It's true.
and that could be a middle child thing. And I've
It's not a
grown
middle
really
child thing
well.
because I do not require my own space in the bathroom for my stuff.
Yeah. See, I like knowing, okay, that's where my face wash is. That's where my toothbrush is. Nobody else's toothbrush is on my toothbrush. It's like, it's just who I am. Yeah.
Yeah, it is who
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah. It's who
So
I am.
how have you grown now in your life for with different things like that? Is there anything that you've seen that you've changed or shifted or, you know?
Well, yeah, there's been lots because growing up, there was a bunch of us kids in a very small space, and
Hmm.
everything was piled on top of everything. So, and I liked things organized. So my little drawer was organized, but it didn't stay organized because I had siblings that, you know, a lot of times
Yeah,
didn't keep things tidy,
that's
right?
right.
So as I've gotten older and I've grown and I've, raised my daughter, I have grandkids. I still like, tidiness around me, and not in OCD. Like if the place is messed up, I'm not freaking out because company's coming and oh, I got to clean, and oh, they're going to judge me on this. And you know how we do it as women, we think we got to have the house perfect, and what are people going to say? There's so much, all that's fallen away.
That's
That
definitely grown in you. Like I noticed it
definitely.
big time that time when Satya and I came and stayed with you in your little red house. It
Hmm.
was like I was a little concerned because in the past, and you like things in a certain way. And I know how
Mhm.
Sachi cooks really messy, like he gets oil everywhere. And I was like, oh gosh, Eddie's gonna. And you were so easygoing. You were just
Mhm.
so happy to have us in your house and so happy to have him cooking and delicious food and teaching.
Oh,
And
it's
he was also good
amazing.
at cleaning, but you would go clean up after him after he
Oh,
cleaned and you'd
yes.
clean more. But you
Yeah.
didn't have a problem with it. You just
No,
appreciate it. And that was growth for sure.
definitely. Definitely. And there was only a couple of times his little turmeric colored fingers went towards my new white couch. And I'm like, don't touch anything. And I'm running with a dish towel to him. And
Wipe
I'm
his
like, okay,
fingers.
yeah, yeah. And I'm laying it on the couch because, it's just, that's just sometimes just a guy thing
Yeah.
sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And
That's
chefs
funny.
are,
Hmm.
a lot of times like that. They cook and it's like the Swedish chef, right? On from the Muppet Show and stuff's going everywhere. And yeah, there's a lot of growth, right? In our lives. Like I definitely see that. And also, yeah, not having to have such strictness around yourself,
Mm, it's
of
beautiful.
order. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. We start getting really gentle and like I watched what was her name? Oh gosh, she was in the swimming. Oh,
The Olympic
it's
swimming.
yeah. No, remember the gal that swam? Oh, there was the movie.
Oh, the
Ooh,
Diane Nyden,
yeah,
Naiad, Diane
Jodie
Nyad,
Foster. Jodie
Jodie
Foster.
Foster. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So Jodie did an interview and she was saying the same thing. She said 20s overly concerned, been acting, 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 right? 20s, am I still going to do it? 30s, am I still going to be successful? Will they still want me? 40s, same thing. 50s, where are they going to fit me in? I'm getting older. 60, she said, I don't give a shit. 60, I'm wise. I'm great. I'm older, and I went, oh gosh, that's everybody, you know, most the vast majority thinks that way. So that's growth.
yeah. It's
That's
amazing. That was such a good one. Strat sent that to me.
yeah.
You must have sent it to him, and he sent it to me.
No, I
Because
think
him
he sent it to me.
Did
I
he?
think he
Oh,
sent it
he
to
did.
both of
Okay, so he
us.
sent it to both of us. That's so
Yeah,
cool. I love
yeah,
that because him and I send each other stuff all the time. You and I, of course, send each other stuff, but him and I send each other stuff too.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
good.
beautiful one. If you ever look that up, I thought that was so poignant. Jodie Foster is so amazing. She hasn't done a damn
Yeah,
thing to her face, and she looks amazing.
she looks
She just,
great. She looks
and
great. And I saw Jamie Lee Curtis too the other day in a film in The Bear. That's what it was. It was a
mm.
series we're watching, and she's amazing in it.
Jamie Lee
Yeah,
Curtis is in it.
yeah.
I
She's
love
the
her. I'd
mom.
watch it for her. Oh, she's a
Oh
mom
yeah,
of the brother because the brother dies at the very beginning,
yes.
right? And then the brother
She
takes
plays
the other
an
twin brother
in.
takes over.
She
Yeah.
plays an intense role. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I think hopefully she does some growth work there because she's struggling with knowing herself and for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of cool. Like you could be watching films and just watch and see, just even measure, was there growth in this film? Like, wow, look at the beginning and now look at them. And, it's
Well,
kind of,
that's when we like a film is when the characters have grown and learned from their mistakes or taken their hard
mhm.
knocks. That's when we connect with it is when, yeah, when we see growth. That's great. Yeah,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
absolutely.
Yep.
I just,
Yeah.
it's funny you're watching The Bear. That's a series and I watched the first two episodes. I tried a couple of times. It's just like so much arguing. I just couldn't, and
Yeah.
negativity. I couldn't handle it.
Just turn it down
And
when they're
so
arguing.
I just,
I can't stand all the arguing either, but it does soften. It's not a ton of it. It definitely
what
there's
episode?
growth.
Like 5 or 6 episodes in?
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
restaurants, they argue. Because I just feel like there's
Yep.
enough of that in life. I don't want that in my
Yes.
entertainment. In my entertainment, I want to be entertained. I don't want
Oh
to be
yes.
reminded of how dramatic life can be.
Yeah, but this is a really good directing and acting and character development is really well done in this film. Like you can honestly see the growth.
But
Yeah,
that's what
but
I
the
said
just
about
try,
the heist, and you wouldn't watch that either. You and
yeah, I
Strat
didn't
didn't like
like
the
that. That was
heist, and
too
I
loud.
freaking love the heist.
See how we're all so
Love the
different?
heist.
Yeah,
Yes.
nope, couldn't get
Hmm.
into it. I don't
Hmm.
know. Yeah, who
But you
knows?
only tried once.
Yeah, maybe I'll attempt it again down the road. But
Hmm.
yeah, when I grow a little bit more
But
to
that's a
know
good,
thyself.
it's a good point to notice the things because you might, when you say grow, you might think, the obvious things like growing after a hardship you've had in your life or your garden growing but your relation, if you look at your relationships, if you look at your relationship to things like my relationship to my surroundings and wanting to be a little more organized, and Eddie the opposite, her relationship to her surroundings and lightening up on the meticulousness of everything. Like
Mhm.
that's why we're BFFs, is we're drawn, I need to do more of that and she's doing less.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also lightening up on expecting someone else to keep up to what your standard is. Like you got your own, like I clean my kitchen. I know I go into your kitchen. I might think I've got it cleaned up enough. And then it's like, no, this is how I do it. And like, okay, we adjust to that
Mm-hmm.
instead of backs up and like getting defensive or if we like even in my house here, like I kind of really keep things nice and tidy and the coffee is right there. So you're not looking for where it is. It's in the little jars right behind the coffee machine. If it gets moved around, it's okay because Strat tends to move things around. I just move it back again. I'm not going to get on him about everything, like put that back. Do you know where this is? Like we gotta pick our battles in life. Like
That's such a
really,
great point. I was actually just
yeah,
listening to a podcast with this couples they do relationship counseling, and they're a couple themselves. And they were talking about how young people now are so drawn to finding the perfect person that they like, that likes everything they like. And that, and it's the
yeah.
opposite. We're drawn to what's different than us. I mean, look at you and I are a perfect example. Yes, we have a lot of things that are similar, but we also have a lot of things that are very different.
Hmm.
And you and Strat the same thing. And it's like
Yep.
it's like, there are differences in all of us. Like we have a lot of similarities, but we also have a lot of differences. And we have a lot of, especially as we get older, we have a
Hmm.
lot of preferences,
Yep.
and the way we like things done. And so what I try to do is I like the way things I like in my kitchen. But when I'm in Eddie's kitchen, I try to do things the way she wants. When I'm in my sister's kitchen, I try to do not the way I want it, but the way that, like, my sister has the most dull knives. Like, my sister's a great cook, but she has dull knives.
You have really sharp
I have
knives.
really sharp knives, and
Yeah. Yeah.
good cooks, I mean, chefs work with sharp. And once you get
They
used to it, but my
do.
sister's so used to her dull knife that
Yeah.
that's what works for her. She knows how to use it, but I don't know how to use it very well. So I scorfed the sharp knife out of my mom's kitchen. That I gave my mom a really expensive sharp knife years ago. Well, she doesn't cook anymore. So last
Yeah.
year I got it and I
Yeah.
tucked it in my sister's drawer. It has a little case and everything. That's how good it
Yeah.
is. So I take it out and I'm like, oh, I'll use the sharp knife. My brother-in-law's like, where'd you get that? And I'm like, oh, it's been in your drawer for. He goes, all our knives are so dull. And I'm like, I know, my sister just rolls her eyes.
That's
So
funny.
as we get older, we do. It's such a good point. We sort of tend to get stuck in our ways.
And
And
even in new relationships, like the saying you grow on each other and you really do because there's so many great things when people get in a new relationship or a new friendship or and if we don't grow together and kind of work with the good, the not so good, the
the
things
irritating, yeah,
the irritating stuff, is it really that irritating? Really? Like, are we still
yeah,
stuck in an old story or in an old pattern because as
yeah,
soon as we start lightening up on all that, it just gets easier on ourselves,
hmm,
right?
yeah.
Like,
It's
it's
so
just,
true.
there's the growth, right? It's like, and
Hmm.
that's knowing it about yourself. Like, now I can say that now, but you say that to me 30 years ago, or, when I was 40. Oh my God, are you OCD in your kitchen? Like everything's, what?
Yeah,
And
it's
now we're
true.
like,
We laugh about it. Oh, maybe I am a little bit. We don't take
yeah,
it
maybe I
personal.
am. Maybe yeah, yeah. So not so much now.
Hmm.
That's growth. That's what we want to look
Hmm.
at is, where's the growth? Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. Growth in the way
where's
we
the
look at things. growth
Mm-hmm.
in the way we do things, growth in, and there's some people, it's so interesting that some people are more in a growth spurt and you can kind of look at your life and see more what times where you were into growing more. Usually when somebody comes to see me and see you for that matter, they're sort of are in a growth spurt in their life because they're wanting to do things differently and change and what they haven't been doing isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
But it's eventually nice to be able to just grow naturally. Like it doesn't have to all come at once where one summer you do all these different courses and all these different things is like it's like
Mm-hmm.
looking at everything like that, like changing the way you look at something. And yeah, it's just about being more mindful.
Yeah, and a little self-reflection. Like
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
without even thinking too hard, you kind of look back and go, "Well, I've really grown as a human. I've really
Hmm.
that these kinds of things happening here don't even bother me anymore." Huh.
Hmm.
Things that family members or someone could say that might I've been stung by them. Huh, I don't even feel that anymore. Interesting.
Isn't
Like
that wild?
that's the recognition, right? Yeah, the
Yeah.
reflection, the recognition, that's yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
And I think that's what happens as we get older. Is like you do notice that pattern of something that would have bothered you or something that you made such a big deal out of when you were younger. And you look back and you think, why was I making such a big deal out of that and put so much? And now you're like, so now you don't tend to take you kind of go with the flow a little bit more.
Hmm.
And everything isn't like how dramatic you are when you're young. It's like, this is the end of my life. It's like, I
Yes.
remember a couple of
Yes.
those moments.
Or defensiveness,
Yeah.
always defending, right? There's
Yeah.
like as soon as you heard the word why did you put that over there? It's like I did it because, instead of and now we have all this beautiful new language, right? Around, well, what was the reason that you put that there? It's so softer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like now you're asking for a reason why you did it, not why did you do that? Like what was wrong with you? We're changing our wording and our
Yeah.
flow and it's just yeah, we just be kinder and softer and gentler with ourselves and with each other and
Yeah.
catch ourselves, even catching ourselves when an old pattern or an old conditioned response comes in and go, let me rephrase that. I want to say that better. We could do that.
You can do that.
Yes, we can say something and then immediately go, "Look, I didn't mean it that way." Okay, can I rephrase that? And they'll
Yeah.
go, yes.
Yeah.
And that's growth.
Hmm.
That's growth. And just even sitting with knowing the strawberries are going to come back up in the spring and
They
same
need that
things.
dormancy.
Yep. They need that hibernation. We need that meditation. We need that yoga. We need that nature, that quiet practice, that mindfulness, right? That,
You sleep at night is like a mini hibernation. This is our last, it's not our last podcast, but it's our, for us, you listening will not notice any difference.
yeah.
But I want to wish Eddie well on her vacation coming up. She's about to head out to Europe for
Yeah.
like 3 weeks, I think, which
Yeah. A
is
couple of
very
weeks. Yeah.
exciting, very exciting.
Yeah. Yep.
And
It's going to be fun. And you
but
have a beautiful retreat coming up,
yeah.
silent retreat with
Hmm.
Alea. So that's wonderful. So
Hmm.
we're going to have lots of stuff to talk about, you know.
When we get back. So by the time this comes out, you'll be back from your vacation Europe. We'll be
Hmm.
already talking, and I'll have done my silent retreat weeks and weeks and even a month ago, and
Hmm.
but it then we'll be into the holidays coming up probably by that time. Isn't that weird to
That's right.
think like that? Like time is like that. Like we talked about it.
Yeah.
I remember last year, this time last year, we were getting ready to go to Sicily. I was in Newfoundland
That's
with
right.
you. We had a retreat with the girls, and Jamie was with us and did that big concert,
Hmm.
and then we left Newfoundland, went to New York and did our whole Sicily trip. And we had done some podcasts before that to be in the hopper. We had talked about, yeah, we're going to be back. And now it's the same thing this year. As a year goes
Yeah.
by.
Yeah.
I mean, time goes by. This is why I love these conversations, love the podcast and the growth. I do, because time can go by and seems like we're not growing, but we
Hmm.
really are. It's a very natural part of life. But if you can even look at it and just try to see how you're growing in some areas and where you need to grow in some areas. That'd be a good thing too.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll help you by listening to this. But yeah, time is just sort of, it's wild that by the time somebody's listening to this, we'll be back already. So we're already back already.
But yeah, we're back
Right?
already.
That's time.
And here we are again. This continuous process of knowing ourselves.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love you, Eddie, and we love our listeners. It's been, I think, a year and a half now we've been doing this, or is it 2 years? I don't know. We'll have to look back and see when we started.
It's a year and a half, and we're in a lot of countries, and it's great, and we love that you're listening, and we'd love for you to just keep following, because grow with us.
Yay!
Grow with us.
I love that. You're so good with words.
You are cute.
Thanks.
Till next time.
Mwah.